Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 5th of November. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And it is the Melbourne Cup today, Gary. How exciting is this?
Can we hear a bit of those trumpets? Yes, it is in fact the Melbourne Cup Day of 2013, Philip. And who's your tip?
Well, idea? Gary, I haven't got any tips other than invest in real estate as young and as often as you can. The sooner you get into the market, the better. That's my Melbourne Cup tip for 2013.
Well, I think there's a French horse, Philip, there with a beautiful name, Christian Lemaire, I think his name is, who's riding, and also Gay Waterhouse has got a horse in there. I reckon one of those two might.
Has Gay Waterhouse ever had a cup winner?
No, he's come second a few times.
I've got to tell you, Gay, if you want to take some advice, you've got to change what you're doing, because there's no point continuing to do the same thing day in, day out and expect a different outcome.
The father, TJ Smith, won it twice, Phil.
Yep. It's very exciting. Well, what a great day for the Melbourne Cup, and that's why, Gary, I thought we would do it outside, get into the festive spring spirit, if you like, and just I'm excited for the day, and that's why I've kind of chosen to wear somewhat of a morning suit. The classic Melbourne Cup attire, for those people that want to know, is a three-piece morning suit. They call it a morning suit. I wasn't able to wear a top hat for this filming.
But you've lost the opportunity, Phil, because the Derby has been run and won.
But it is a morning suit that the classic people do wear to the Melbourne Cup,
I went to the Derby, Phil.
Did you? How'd you go?
I lost money.
Yep, good.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, back we go. Talk about real estate, Phil. Last week it was all about all of those massive sales on the weekend, and there have been a number of sales that have happened since then. I thought I should bring it up because some people would think, what happens to those properties, Philip, that don't get sold? Well, 3 of them have sold already, Phil. There was one at 2 at 189 Hawthorn Road that was passed in, and it did get sold, Philip, for full price, $599,000.
And let's talk about that, Gary, because that apartment in Hawthorn Road, great apartment, but we encouraged the vendor to put what we call a sharp asking price, a sharp non-negotiable price. And this is probably interesting discussion for the viewers to understand that we often say to a vendor, if you price it correctly, we will get you the full asking price, rather than pad the price up and spend many weeks trying to come down, expecting a buyer to negotiate. Buyers, Gary, respond to value, and if your asking price is the right price, we'll get the full asking price, as we did in Hawthorn Road, and it took all of what? 24 hours?
Magic can happen, Phil. In Master Street, the price is undisclosed, but within a few thousand of the asking price. That also has been sold since, so that was sold a few days later, Phil. And also in Orong Road in Caulfield North, there was another apartment that's been sold. So of the, I think, 6 that we didn't sell, half of those are gone already. But
and an interesting case, we talked about it in the sales meeting yesterday, an apartment in Hotham Street. And here's an interesting story. We had an apartment in Hotham Street that Jeremy Rosen's auctioned. I think they passed it in at $400,000. Now, the vendor didn't price it at a price that we encouraged him to do so. We said, look, price it at $419 or $429. No, the answer to that was, I'm going to price it at $449,000. Took us a week or two to get a price reduction to $439. Still nothing happened. Jeremy then encouraged the vendor to say, look, let's price it to get inquiry and price it to sell. Finally, the vendor took our instructions or advice, priced it at $419,000. All of a sudden, the phones lit up in our St Kilda office. We ended up having 3 people compete for that. The asking price was $419, and we sold it for $435,000. So in excess of the asking price.
How can that happen?
So
people might want to know how can that happen.
Right, price it to sell, and you'll either get the full price or you'll get more.
You're a fascinating fellow, Philip.
No, I think that's interesting.
The man said to the horse, Philip, why the long face? Well, that's got to do with real estate. I've got no idea. Let's talk about
as funny as you get.
Let's talk about auction, Phil.
Well, that's it. Really?
Horse jokes have never been great, you know.
So let's talk about last weekend, because we normally review the auctions from last weekend, and keep in mind that not the weekend just last past, but the weekend before that, there were 1,600 auctions in Melbourne. The Melbourne Cup weekend that we've just passed, or the Derby weekend, we went from 1,600 the weekend before to, I think, 200 in Melbourne, and we went from 31 auctions the weekend before to 0 auctions. So we're not here to discuss last weekend's auctions results, but we do have some fascinating discussions about the current market.
You're babbling now. Let's talk about the auctions this weekend, Phil, because it's all happening. It's
starting
starting
off. How many we got, Gary? How many we've got?
Many. It starts off, Philip, I'm in Elstonwick. in the Nepean Highway, Phil, and I'm doing an auction there in an apartment. Terrific at 10:30 a.m. on the Nepean Highway. That one's going to be very popular, we're expecting, Philip. And in Ormond Road in Ormond, you are going to be auctioning a fabulous property there, Phil. A period home.
What a great period home, but it's also got development upside, Gary, because it's in an area that that the City of Glen Ira has said, yes, we will encourage development. So that's a good developer's note, that one.
I'm going to be in a beautiful period home, Philip, in North Road in Brighton East at 12:30. I've got the pleasure of doing that one. It is a lovely home, Phil. And then we're in St Kilda Road in St Kilda, and we're auctioning an apartment there. I believe that
Adam Josky, Joel Sir, and the auction is being conducted by Jeremy Rosen.
That's our Saturday, Phil. A nice, tight, compact Saturday, but on Sunday it's all happening, starting off in Carnarvon Road at 10:30 a.m. I have the pleasure of doing terrific auction, Philip, a magnificent period home, one of a pair just near the park.
Walking distance to Caulfield Park and the Malvern Railway Station. Great little pocket of Caulfield North, Gary.
It's a beauty. Phil, you're in Cobden Street, I believe, at the same time.
One of my favourite streets running off Alma Road. That's a property that's been handled by Daniel Rees and Glenn Bricker, and that's a seriously good-looking Federation semi.
We have had a lot of interest in a property, Philip, in Bentley East, in number 2 Clement Street. Glenn Bricker has had the phone ringing off the hook there.
525 square metres of land, Gary, with a house that could be renovated or move straight into it, of course, and that's going to go well.
There is a luxury property in Sidwell Avenue, Phil. Doesn't
Gary,
get much better.
I love
We've
this
shot
house.
GPTV
there last week. That's a gorgeous home. Get ready for summer with that swimming pool.
11:30 a.m, Phil. You're going to be lounging by the pool and doing a good auction, we hope and expect. Phil, in Bayview Street, Elstonwick, there is a magnificent home. That is a great location. We are looking forward to bringing you that auction.
Great looking house, that one.
It is a fantastic looking house. You'll be doing that at 12:30 on Sunday, Phil. And while you're there, I'm going to be doing an auction in Dorgan Street, a beautiful period apartment.
It's one of only 6, I think. And Dorgan Street has a park next door, and the shops in Kooyong Road, and the tram in Balaclava Road. You really couldn't get a better spot.
They never come up there either. That
Very rarely.
Very tightly held. Phil, then we meet together.
Where are we going to be together,
We're going to
Gary?
be right here, Phil. Let's talk a little bit about this home.
Ludbrook Avenue.
Number 9 Ludbrook Avenue. My sister used to live across the road. She did. And this is a fantastic period home. Let's have a look through here, Philip. There's some beautiful period features throughout.
And we're actually sitting in the back garden, Gary, and I've got to tell you, as far as gardens go, this is one of the best I've seen. This kind of over a couple of levels, and this deck area is nothing short of sensational. And Ludbrook Avenue, a tree-lined street, walking distance to the tram in Hawthorne Road, a really good street, a fabulous house. Can't wait for this auction.
Looking forward to it. Phil, we're in Heatherbrae Avenue after that. Anything you can tell us about that, Phil?
I can, Gary. That's been given somewhat of a makeover by the current owners who've lived and loved that house and have prepared it beautifully for sale. I love that house, and that is a really good location. Once again, walking distance to the tram in Glen Huntly Road. We talk a lot about walking distance to trams. I reckon if you can find any property that's walking distance to a tram, guaranteed, in my opinion, to increase in value more than those houses that you can't.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. There's a real estate call for you.
Why the long face? Do you get the joke?
No, I don't get it because it's pathetic.
Okay, let's move on and let's talk, Phil, about this incredible property in Kooyong Road. This apartment, you call it an apartment, but just about being an insult, wouldn't
Well, Gary, we wouldn't call it, you might call it an apartment. I would call it a penthouse. Penthouse number 7 at 33 Kooyong Road. A boutique building built by a very, very good Melbourne builder. And
how big is it?
It's enormous. 3 bedrooms and a possible study area, lounge dining room, kitchen meals family area, front balcony, rear balcony, and it's the top. And I love the way that you just get in at the either at the basement if you've driven your car down, or you come in from pedestrian access. You get into the lift, and the lift door opens into your apartment.
That's sexy, isn't it?
It's got a New York feel, Gary. I love that.
And
I'd love to live here.
Size counts, doesn't it?
Size does count, Gary. It certainly does. You stupid man.
Why the long face? Let's move on to Milburn Grove, Phil, because that's our last auction, and that's a very elegant home.
4:30 Sunday afternoon. Milburn, for those of you that don't know, runs off Orong Road, and it runs straight into the Green Meadows Park. In fact, if you came down that street really quickly and your brakes failed, you'd end up in the park. And hopefully no one will do that on the way to the auction, because that would be terrible. But it is literally walking distance to the Green Meadows Park. And once again, Gary, walking distance to a tram in Balaclava Road.
I used to hang out in that
Very
park.
good pocket there,
I used to hang out in that park.
Did you?
Yeah, you didn't, as a kid, innocently. Don't give me that sort of look, that dirty look, but no, because Green Meadows Park is just near Ripponlea State School, and I was a Ripponlea State School boy. I was, Phil.
You were.
I was,
were,
yep.
You
And
were.
that park was pretty cool.
And I've got to tell you, if ever there's an advocate for putting your children through the state school system, Gary went to the Ripponlea Primary School, and I went to the Cootamundra Primary School. So why would you waste your money on private school
don't need
fees
to.
when such gifted people like the two of us have gone through the state system, you know, I think we summarised the state system.
Why the long face? It's times like this, Phil, I wish I was friends with Mr. Ed, because he could give me a tip for the races, and I don't know, I think maybe Gai Waterhouse, maybe Lloyd Williams.
And also, well, you just...
an overseas horse.
Really,
I've got the whole field covered,
You're just
haven't I?
going with the obvious, but seriously...
See, by the time this comes out, people will know. They'll say he was a genius.
If you were going to pick,
Yeah.
if you're going to pick your tip for the Cup, who's it going to be?
I would say Fioronte each way. It's the favourite I know. I think it's
Fioronte.
Florente.
My Cup tip is... Don't put your money into racing.
Yeah. Put it in real estate.
Don't gamble. Buy yourself a good 1 or 2 bedroom apartment and sit back and you're set for life.
Yeah.
It's been a great Melbourne Cup episode. We're signing off now, Gary. Thanks again for watching GPTV. I'm Philip Kingston.
Horses are good, but houses are better. I'm Gary Peer. See you next time.
Have a great week.
Bye now.